Hello everyone, this is Canon Lowy with my very first World of Tanks review with the FV4202. Now before I get started, I would like to mention that I'm actually going to put this into two parts, where if you are the type of person who would like to go straight to the action, look for this part 2 of this review, and that will be the actual gameplay of the vehicle, while this is the garage talk about the stats of the vehicle. Now, as I get started, this is a British Tier 10 medium tank that you have to go down pretty much just this top line right here. That doesn't really have any branches, like for example with the Conquer gun carrier for the from heavies to tank destroyers or anything like that. So just go a straight line with the Medium 1, Cruiser 2, Cruiser 4, Covenanter, Crusader, Cromwell, Comet, Centurion 1, Centurion 7/1, and then you'll get to the FV4202. Or you would have, because this tank is actually being replaced tomorrow in version 9.12 by a tank called the Centurion Action X, and that is one of the reasons why I was going to do this review. Now for the FV4202, let's go through the stats. Well, the hit points is pretty standard with 1950 hit points, and its weight limit is 40 tons, which is about standard for most medium tanks of Tier 10. And its engine power is 810, giving it a power to weight ratio of over 20, which is excellent. However, even with this excellent power to weight ratio, for some reason the speed limit is only 40 kilometers per hour, which is pretty slow. Some heavy tanks go faster than this tank does. Its traverse speed, however, is very fast, with 50 degrees per second. Now here comes the armor. The armor on the side and rear for the hull are really bad. Pretty much you're only going to be bouncing shots from the front, which is 121 millimeters, but is at an excellent slope. But the side and rear is 51 and 32, which can be pretty much penetrated by anything you will face in this vehicle. Now the turret is actually quite interesting, because it says 196 for the front and the side. However, this is mostly just the turret ring right below the gun here and around the side. Well, these cheeks right here and the top are only 125 millimeters. The top part is pretty much an auto bounce, while these cheeks right here are actually pretty weak if you can hit them, if you ever face this vehicle. Now, before we get into the gun in a second here, this vehicle has a really good rate of fire of about 7 rounds per minute, and has a turret traverse speed of 40 degrees per second, which is alright. And a view range, which is a bit above average with 410, and then it has a standard signal range of 750. Now on to the gun. Well, this gun is a little interesting. The gun has 7 rounds per minute, like I said before, and it has choices of the three types of ammunition are armor-piercing composite rigid, high explosive, squash head, or HESH for both the types of high explosive. Now APCR, this is standard with this vehicle. It isn't premium ammunition, and it gives an awesome 268 penetration, but it also retains the muzzle velocity that is very quick because it is APCR. Now the high explosive is a bit interesting. It has very high penetration for an high explosive shell, but it just acts like high penetration, high explosive. There isn't any really other special effects besides the penetration value. Now the premium high explosive, which is the 210 penetration, 480 damage, will cost you 13 gold or 5,200 credits per shot. Usually I don't choose to load any of these shells because I don't really use high explosive to begin with, and the standard HESH ammunition that has 105 penetration is usually good enough for me, and I load mostly APCR ammunition. Also, this vehicle has a 72 ammo count, which is excellent. Now for consumables, I just have a repair kit, small first aid kit, and an automatic fire extinguisher. For mainly just my tier 10s have the automatic one. For crew skills, I would highly recommend getting the camouflage skill, because this is actually a kind of a small medium tank giving off a really good camo rating. And to go with that camo rating, Sixth Sense is also an excellent skill to use with this vehicle to know when you're spotted, especially with good camo rating. And then having Snapshot and Smooth Ride to just make it so you aim that little bit faster. As well as Safe Stowage just to eliminate, well, I wouldn't say eliminate, but reduce the amount of ammo rack damage you take. And then for my third one, just repairs. Any equipment that you use, I would recommend the medium caliber tank gun rammer, the vertical stabilizer, and the ventilation. Now, this tank has actually 10 degrees of gun depression, which is actually the tied for the most gun depression out of any tier 10s, with the Type 5 Heavy of Japan, and also the STB-1 with Japan, and a few others. As well as this tank also gets 20 degrees of gun elevation, I do believe. Which means that this tank is a very good hill sniper, especially, I forgot to mention that the gun also has 0.32 accuracy and 2.1 second aiming time, which is really good, like sniper characteristics that really help you just go up that ridge line, especially with that 20 horsepower per ton, and just shoot and then pull back. It is really, I like playing this tank in that fashion, especially on maps on the replay that I will show later. And I think I covered most of the things about the FV4202 that I can think of. And this tank doesn't really have any real problems that I can notice. However, the slow top speed gives it kind of a hard time getting into position, as well as the really weak side armor that allows that you have to face your opponent in order to make any effective use of this armor. And also, your side cheeks, since they're only 125, can be easily penned by tier 10 guns. And also, this tank is one of the only tanks that does not have a gun mantle on it, which makes your gun also a weak target to tier 10 shots. So I think that is pretty much all I wanted to say about the FV4202 before we get on to some gameplay in part 2, which I will hopefully, if I remember, to put into the video description. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.